everybody, welcome back to the channel. And I feel like this has never been asked before, especially probably to me. And that is, what are your pros and cons of bow hunting and rifle hunting? I bet you guys got some, and I would love to hear it in the comments. But that's what we're going to be discussing on today's topic, is the pros and cons of bow hunting and rifle hunting. So just sit back, relax. Welcome to another episode of Michigan Boneheads Outdoors. Let's get it. So for me, guys, I've done both. I've done bow hunting and rifle hunting for a long, long time. My dad got me into hunting, and shot my first deer with a rifle. And I feel like that is the first pro in rifle hunting, is to just get hooked into the sport in general. You know, I think that it's really, really important, especially for young kids growing up now, to kind of be successful into, sinking that hook in to the sport that we all love, which is hunting. But there's also cons that come with rifle hunting. I public land hunt. I'm pretty sure you public land hunt. And I'm pretty sure you know where I'm going with this. And it is the Orange Army that we see every year. We just can't get away from them. It's like you walking into a pumpkin patch. I feel like I'm going to give you guys a lot of PTSD because I'm pretty sure a lot of you know what I'm talking about here. The pumpkin patches. It is just, we just cannot get away from them, can we, guys? We have to deal with this every single year on public land. It's just crazy. Um, it's it can get pretty crazy out there. For rifle hunting, a couple pros is you're able to have a poke at the deer that you're trying to harvest. Compared to bow hunting, which needs to be in the 20 to 30 yard range, depending on what type of caliber rifle you're using. I mean, you can shoot them 3, 4, 500, 600 yards away, if you're that good of a shot, which I would never do. But there's some people that are just natural born snipers. The other pro of rifle hunting is just the camaraderie of deer camp. It is a really, really steep tradition in Michigan for everybody to go up November 15th in deer camp. And I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys know what I'm talking about. Being able to see your buddies that you haven't seen in, 4, 6, or 9 months. But once that deer camp rolls around, everybody gets the itch and starts making plans to start getting deer camp up. To me, that's a big pro. Another pro for rifle hunting is when rifle hunting starts. For my state, it's November 15th. You're clearing to the rut. I mean, things are going crazy in the woods. So you have no idea. If you sit out there long enough, you have no idea what you're going to see, what's going to come in. Like I said, it might be the biggest buck of your life that would come in. You're in that peak time to where those bucks are running ragged and those does are in estrus. So it's just kind of like throwing the dice. You just have no idea what's going to come in. And to me, that is just so exciting. It's just the anticipation of just putting in your time, being out in the woods, and just being ready. Now, the cons of rifle hunting. Like I said just a little bit earlier, it is the Orange Army. Um, like I said, you can't get away from them. Some of the spots that were really, really bomb and really, really hot at that time are now getting, I hate to say it, messed up due to everybody and their brother coming in. And this is the view of a public hunter. So if you hunt private property, which I'm pretty sure some of you do, you don't have to deal with the everyday hassle of like what public land hunters have to deal with. But if your private property is surrounded by public, I'm pretty sure you know what I'm talking about. You probably have to deal with trespassers. You have to deal with this. It's just a total mess. Like living in a big city, everybody is just, they only worry about themselves and not the other hunters around them. Um, that is a big con for me during rifle season. Um, it's a it's a big turnoff for me. The last con that I have for rifle hunting is this, and I hope that nobody takes this the wrong way. Um, but I feel like it is just a slaughterhouse. Um, Younger deer just don't have a chance at all during rifle season. I know a lot of people, and I know a lot of friends that do this. If it's brown, it's down. But for me, I kind of hold my. I like to have just a little bit. I don't want to say a higher standard because I just don't want to sound egotistical. But I like to shoot bigger deer. That's just my preference. That's what I go after, and that's what makes me happy. But if shooting that little spike or that doe or whatever, or that, if that makes you happy, by all means do it. Because that's why we're in the sport to begin with. It's not just the trophy aspect of it, but also the meat aspect of it as well. If that makes you happy, by all means do it. But for me personally, I like a little bit more of a challenge. I like to go after a little bit more caliber of deer. So that is my last con of rifle hunting. So the pro that I have for bow hunting is this. I see a lot more deer during bow season. And what I mean by that, I mean, I'm not just saying that I'm seeing just giants every single time that I go out, but I see a lot more deer. I see a lot more does. I see a lot more younger bucks. I see a lot more 2.5s. You know, they're not, I can't say they're not pressured as hard as rifle because there is a lot of pressure during bow season. But when rifle season comes around, like I said, guys, it is just a free for all. So one pro that I have for bow hunting is that I see a lot more deer. Um, I have a lot more shot opportunities at deer because they're not as skittish or just running for the hills because the rifle season started. So another pro for bow hunting for me is basically just my preference. I like a challenge, and I like to be close to the deer that I'm pursuing. I love that challenge of that 30-yard and in. Um, it's just something about getting a nice buck at 20 yards compared to shooting him at 250 to 300. For me, like I said, personally, you pulled something off. You put your time in the woods, you figured out the tree that you needed to be in, everything, all the scouting that you did, everything comes together. So for me, I get more satisfaction when I get a buck down during bow season, kind of a little bit more than what I do during rifle season. Now, the cons with bow season is just the opposite of what I just said. You have only a 30 or 40-yard shot compared with a rifle that you do have 250, 300-yard shot. You have to be a little bit more strategic on your spot placements than what you have to do during rifle season. You were able to just sit on top of like, a little hill crest or something and be able to see this big old vast area, that you can just snipe them off like American Sniper. And but during bow season, they have to be in that 30-yard and in, and that's pretty tough to do. So, like I said, that's another con that I have for bow season. Just one more con on bow season, guys, and it is relatively hard, is that you kind of have to pay attention to the wind. You kind of have to be scent free as possible. Like I said, to get into that 30-yard range, you are trying to fool the deer's most vital, you know, survival tool that they have, and that is their nose. And that there again, that is just very, very hard to do, compared to a rifle. Like I said, you can be up 2, 3, 400 yards away, and that deer has no idea that you're even that you're even around. Then you're able to get a shot off. But with rifle hunting, I do love that. They're just like I said, the camaraderie of us hunters are able to do. Um, you don't really hear, you know, bow camp, or you don't really kind of hear that. There's people that do it, but I don't really hear it. During rifle season, when somebody says deer camp, that's what your mind goes to, is rifle hunting. Like I said, the camaraderie with your friends and your family is just to share the time that we have with one another, and to be just so wrapped up in the sport that we all love, and that is deer hunting. And even though that, some of them have pros and cons, I feel like that's the main goal here. Let's share the same common sport that we all love and just are kind of obsessed with. So that is my little pros and cons of bow hunting and rifle hunting. If you like what you're hearing, just please subscribe to the channel. We would really love to have you here at Michigan Boneheads Outdoors. We really want you to be part of our family, and we just can't do it without you. So if you guys can, like I said, just please subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. And remember, always keep bringing traditions back home. Later, guys.